It is the last edition of the Florida Atlantic from Biergarten in Boca Raton for the calendar year 2025. I'm sure we'll be back here at some point. Florida
Hopefully.
Atlantic Voice presented by Robes Law Group, ROBES, robeslawgroup.com. Personal injury lawyers are presenting partner of the Florida Atlantic Voice. And this is going to be wide-ranging. This is going to be truly a first quarter FAU basketball season recap. By the way, we are through the first full quarter of the FAU basketball
season. Are we there
season.
already?
We're there. We've
Wow.
made it. FAU 6-3 on the year, 9 games in. Actually, a little over. Actually, right at the quarter mark. Yeah, right at the quarter mark, if I'm doing the math correctly. And as you know, I am horrific when it comes to the math component of all of this. But 6-3, Florida Atlantic after a big win at the time of us doing this. It is live, by the way, from Biergarten in Boca Raton, right off of Federal in Boca. We've got some good friends out here, and we've got ourselves drink in hand. You're about to have drink in hand.
I'm waiting on it.
But for our friend who
It's
are,
been a long day for me, kid.
has it been a long day
It's
for
been a
you?
long
Okay.
day. I'm great.
I appreciate you being here and still being a part of it, even with the long day.
It's been a long day.
YouTube and Twitter, you're watching this live right now, so feel free. As always, the chat is open for you to jump in, be a part of it. We will answer your queries. We will take your observations. We'll react to them. We'll try and do our best not to disrespect you, but can't guarantee that. Before we get to anything, before we get to basketball, and one more disclaimer I want to throw out there. I know there's a lot, and I get a lot of questions about signing day, football-wise, and who did FAU bring in, and how do they project? I'm going to say it right now. I don't have a damn clue. Okay? Like, I don't. Like, bottom line, the true freshmen that are coming in that have signed with FAU, I don't know a thing about anything. I call the games. I know the players that are on the roster. I don't know anything about the new guys, okay?
Well,
So I just want to make sure before we get any questions in the chat, Ken, what do you think about so-and-so out of X high school? I don't know.
Okay.
I just don't know. And it's honestly unreasonable for me to know, because I also don't go out of my way to talk about recruits until they're actually into the building. And it's irresponsible of me because I used to cover high school football down here. I haven't done it in a long time, so I don't know anything about anything. And honestly, if you're Zach Kitley, you've projected, but you don't know anything about these guys yet. So I just want to make sure that we avoid that. We haven't done this in this capacity. We haven't recorded anything in this capacity, been live in this capacity since Thanksgiving. How was the holiday?
The holiday was good for me personally, man. I mean, it was a bunch of family that
you went back to Texas, right?
I went back to Texas, and I hope I'm like the traditional apple pie family when it comes to Thanksgiving, where you kind of go home after not being there for 6, 7, 8, 9 months. So
you went apple pie?
I did have apple pie.
Like, I want to hear about your family, but I also am very curious about the dessert.
I had apple pie, actually, and I did something different for Thanksgiving than I think a lot of people did. I didn't eat the traditional turkey. I had a turkey sandwich for like the main meal.
That's not bad. That's totally fine.
I just kind of did away with the wing, the mashed potatoes, or whatever sides. Honestly, I had a turkey sandwich. Mm-hmm. It was a double-decker turkey sandwich.
Double-decker turkey, all right. Dark meat, white meat, what are we talking here?
And it's a mixture of both. With hot Cheetos on the side.
You could have given me a million guesses what you would have added onto that turkey sandwich at Thanksgiving, and
hot Cheetos
would not have come
Hot Cheetos, it replaces hot sauce with a crunch.
You know what? Now that I hear you explain it, it's weird,
Yes.
and I never would have thought of it.
That was my Thanksgiving, and I watched our Cowboys on the victory as the world did.
Yep.
As America did. We cheered our Cowboys on the victory.
One of the highest-rated Thanksgiving games of all time, by the way, the Chiefs and the Cowboys.
The world watched that.
Two teams that aren't going to make the playoffs. How about that? Well, ratings for those two teams.
All that stuff. I'm not going to co-sign that type of analysis. And that's a hot take. So you just did a hot take.
I did a hot take. That's my sports talk radio background. Seeping into the podcast world. Cowboys, Chiefs, Thanksgiving. Neither making the playoffs. Call us 888.
You just did a hot take that I'm gonna make you kind of take it back. But no, that was my Thanksgiving. It was good to go back home, and it went kind of predictable, I think, where you're happy to see everybody.
Then you're ready to get out when it's time to go.
And you're ready to get out, or you're ready for someone else to get out.
You know what? That's a great point. That's a great point.
I miss ball. I wasn't able to play my normal Thanksgiving Day ball with the group of guys that I normally play with down here at 6-man.
Like turkey bowl stuff, like football, or are you talking basketball?
Basketball.
So you do like a turkey ball. There's turkey bowl. You do turkey ball.
Yes. We actually play whatever. And Larry, the guy that runs everything, Larry Schneider. I've been knowing him since.
Yeah.
You've seen him. You've met Larry.
Yeah.
Since I was in college, we go back, and so he has this great run called Six Man.
That's fun.
It's right out here in the central of Boca that I've been playing with since I was in college. And honestly, if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't have any run while I was playing.
Sure.
And so we did we normally have a holiday hoops, whether it's Christmas, Thanksgiving, or whatever. We play on the holidays, and unfortunately, I wasn't able to miss it because we was in Daytona.
Right.
And then I had to go from Daytona straight out to the FAM out there in Dallas, and I missed that game that I'm hearing rumors about that it was a great game.
It was a great game.
There.
Yeah.
I don't believe it.
Okay, because without you, how could it ever reach maximum?
Yeah, that's what I like to think, Ken.
Maximum entertainment level, right?
Of course.
So one point I'll make on Thanksgiving is my wife, and I don't think that my wife is Cuban. I don't think it's a cultural thing; it's a personal preference thing. But I grew up in the Midwest where there are seasons, right?
Right.
There are legitimate seasons, and so when fall comes and the leaves change and there's a brisk breeze, my family would always, after Halloween, you'd have Thanksgiving decorations, and there'd be,
what's the Thanksgiving decoration?
I don't know.
What's the mascot for Thanksgiving? I know a turkey. You had a turkey in
Pilgrim,
your front yard?
Native American. I want to make sure I'm
so
being
you had
correct
a turkey
with
and
that.
an Indian in your front
Yeah,
yard.
and you have like leaves and things that
Did
you'll
you up like the
but orange, black, things like that. Like it's around
okay.
your home. And my mother would make sure that it was festive. And then once the Macy's Day Parade was over, she started hauling out the fake tree and doing that whole thing. We have plastic tree, fake tree. We do that. My wife and I, when we first met, were natural tree people, but then that's such a pain to sweep up all the needles that
that's
are dead.
What you do in the Midwest from Chicago.
No, not the LaVicka family. It's too cold to go buy a tree and do that whole thing. We'll just put it up.
Oh,
in pieces.
they're disowning you.
But in my household, what happens after Labor Day? You know what goes up? Halloween decorations right away. Like on Labor Day, it's Halloween decorations, and as soon as Halloween hits, very next day, it's Christmas or holiday decorations. There's no Thanksgiving. There's no in between now in my
Thanksgiving
household.
is like the overlooked holiday now.
Yeah.
In my development, right around Halloween, they were putting up. I have a Santa that's blowing up in my front my community.
Yeah,
and it wasn't even Halloween time yet. They were still asking for candy. And here comes Santa.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
All right, first quarter recap here for Florida Atlantic basketball. Just overall, and again, the chat is open. Whether you're watching on YouTube, whether you're watching on Twitter, whether you're in person here tonight at the Biergarten in Boca Raton, Florida Atlantic Voice. This is not our last podcast of 2025. It's the last time we're going to be here at Biergarten in 2025. This live edition, 6:00 on Mondays. 6-3. A win over Florida Gulf Coast last night at the time of us doing this, 81-76. Come from behind, down 11 in the second half. Josiah Parker, his breakout performance, true freshman, 16 points. Another glorious outing from Devin Vanterpool, 24 points, and what's likely going to be the play of the year with him saving a ball fully extended on the ground, selling out his body, saving the ball in the backcourt to Devin Williams, who then has the wherewithal to find Josiah Parker in the front court for an and one. I mean, that's just as good as it gets. On the radio call, you said you had goosebumps about that. But just this team, as we hit the 9-game mark, where is Damon Arnette at with Florida Atlantic basketball in 2025-2026?
Where am I at? That's a great question, Ken. And I am on the road. And I'm on the road to think that this team can reach its potential. I'm still on the road. I'm not discouraged.
And the potential being NCAA tournament.
The potential being competing to win the conference championship.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
With the ultimate goal of getting into the field.
Exactly. I really believe that we can, on the road to contend. Obviously, if you've watched our games, you know that there are some holes that exist. And you just kind of wonder how Coach Jacobs and the staff is going to fulfill those holes. We have the pieces, but you're just kind of wondering and just kind of, and I'm sure you may get into this in the coaching show, just try to get a little insight into his coaching progression strategy in terms of where we're going to get inside production. Who is that person that's going to get you a basket, so to speak? And we see a glimpse into it to kind of think that we can have our crystal ball and see what he's thinking by being in those live game situations out of timeouts and kind of see how he's responded when everyone watching knows, okay, coach, we need a bucket here, much like in the George Mason game toward the end. I know it didn't work out for us, but you saw how he strategized and came up with a play to kind of take advantage of our height and size with going to Elohim there in the post.
Craig on YouTube messages in the chat. Thank you, Craig, for tuning in as always. I know he is a chronic viewer and listener of the Florida Atlantic Voice. So, Craig, appreciate you. But he mentions on YouTube, hurts me to say this, but this group doesn't have it. They're lacking motivation. They looked half asleep against St. Bonaventure. How do you react to that? Because I don't know if they lack motivation. I think last night proved there's no lack of motivation. And against George Mason, you're down 19. You get within 3 in the final 90 seconds. I don't think that lacks motivation. And against St. Bonaventure, you're down by 11 and then 9 with 3 minutes to go. And you have a final possession to tie or take the lead within the final 15 seconds. I don't think that lacks motivation. It's one thing to say this group doesn't have it. That's a subjective opinion. But to say this group lacks motivation, I don't know about that, or you can gauge that 9 games in.
Well, I want to know what is it. Does it have it? What team in America with 9 to 11 games in can you say has it?
Yeah, unless you're like a Michigan or a Duke, chances are you don't have it.
But even
right
teams
now
that do have it don't win it. Okay,
sure,
so I don't know what it means as far as what Craig is saying, but if it meaning the ingredients, I disagree with Craig. We do have the ingredients to win our conference championship. We do have the ingredients to be competitive in all the games that exist on our schedule. So I don't know what Craig is saying by what it means.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, are we a finished product?
No. Not at all.
Okay.
Actually, let me try and translate what it is for Craig. Okay. Because I don't want to just poo-poo that. Because while I agree with you, it is way too early to talk about FAU having it or not. Because another point I want to make in the American Conference right now, if you were to break down the American and who the best team is, you know who it is? Tulsa. Tulsa has the best body of work of any team in the American on December the 8th, 2025. And you know what? That's probably not going to remain the case throughout all of February and into March. Now, they're good. They're improved. But Memphis, they don't have it, but they have the best, you'll appreciate this, KenPom rating. South Florida, they don't have it, but they have a good KenPom rating. Tulsa, same exact thing. But nobody would say, even Penny Hardaway or Hanshin out there at USF would say they have it yet. I don't think you can make a declaration about it. But if I were to translate Craig, his it is coming out of the second half against St. Bonaventure was a sleepwalk. It was a faceplant. And that honestly is what cost them the game, is that lapse coming out of the locker room against St. Bonaventure. And then the it, you already alluded to it, is the lack of size underneath in the offensive attack with this FAU.
Well, then, once again, I disagree with Craig if that's what it is, because the Final Four year, we didn't have it, meaning the size and all that. We didn't
sure,
have
you had Brandon Weatherspoon playing the 4.
Exactly. And so if it means being inconsistent,
yeah.
Okay, well, no, we're not a consistent team in the areas that you'd like to see just yet. But who is right now in America? If it means having the chemistry that's going to win games, agreed.
Yeah.
We don't have the chemistry yet. These kids that are on this team are just 9 games in playing live games together.
Right.
And you see what they get. Did we have it against Boston College? I would ask Ken, did we have it? Because we won the game.
Yeah, we had it in the final 3 minutes. That's
what I'm saying.
Sure.
So did we have it then? So I think with a new basketball team in this day and age in college sports, it's going to take a minute, and it's going to take longer for some teams than others.
If we were in mid-January, you could start having the it conversation.
Exactly.
This is premature.
It's very premature. But to Craig's point, I don't expect things to stay the way it is now.
Yeah.
And that's just the faith that I have in Coach Jacobs. But I would be curious from not just our standpoint, but from let's take Larry's perspective.
So what I'm going to do here, Larry, while you give the question, I'm gonna like paraphrase for people watching live. It is a new team, right? Yeah. Right. A rotate. Yep. Exactly. Right. Yep. So Larry said, and this is really well said by Larry.
It is.
And I'm not just saying that because, well, I seek his approval because he's 15 feet away from me. Because Larry and we've gone at it before on some different things, a lot of college football
you
stuff.
too, huh?
Yeah,
You too, huh?
Yeah, right. But what Larry here at Biergarten and Boca Raton is saying is it cannot come to be until you figure out a rotation. And only can you translate what it is within a college basketball team, especially at this level in this conference, until you have that it. And John Jacobs has been very open about what the adjudication of a roster is, and it really doesn't start to show its full personality until mid-December. Josiah Parker, the freshman of the year preseason in the American, you have to think that he, and Larry brought up his name, he is going to play a big part in what it is for Florida Atlantic in 2025, 2026. We have not seen Josiah Parker really, truly in any way, shape, or form appreciably until yesterday against Florida Gulf Coast, where he scores 16 points. He is a bulldog. He is bullying people at Florida Gulf Coast. We haven't seen that yet. We still haven't seen, dare I say, a Max Langenfeld contribution that I really think is coming at some point. We have not seen a 100% healthy, 100% confident Nico Moretti yet in this rotation. So until we actually see a
because these are all new players. He doesn't have the luxury of tape and film from last year to kind of see what has developed into this year to grow it and to continue to nurturing it and to continue to grow it. So the it factor, if what Larry is saying, to Larry's point, if the it is the rotation, that has been something that has been tinkered with pretty much in every single game, because the it factor against Boston College, he has Sissoko in the game who hit the big shot.
Right. But then even last night. So let's just go the five on the floor who won the game against Florida Gulf Coast. The five that were the trigger. And you and I talked about this extensively late in the second half, but also in the post-game show. The five that won that game for FAU. At the point, you had Sissoko. At the 2 spot, I suppose.
Well, you can't go no further than 2 because it's so perimeter oriented.
Right. So fine. Let's go with the backcourt.
Yes.
Sissoko, Elohim, Vanterpool. Those were those 3, right? And then you had Josiah Parker. And then for a while, it was Devin Williams. And also you had some Max Langenfeld. Those were your 5. We have not seen those 5 on the floor with one another at any point in the season until that game against Florida Gulf Coast. And that's the point. Larry's making that as the point. You're making that as the point. I am making that you cannot figure out what it is until there's a rotation. And John Jacobs literally went like 11, 12 deep on December 7th. How do you know anything at that point?
And he was kind of forced to do that because of the injuries.
Well, yeah, right. You had Cannon Carlisle hurt, and you had Vincent Neugebauer hurt.
He was forced to do that, so his hand was pushed, which could be a blessing in disguise. So I think all the players that has gotten minutes on the floor can contribute, but this is why I have confidence in Coach Jacobs to be able to take all this body of work from everyone and his staff to be like, okay, now we've got to make the pieces fit. This is coaching. Coaches don't get out there and play.
You're exactly right. By the way, Ross in the chat, it was Sissoko, according to the TV crew last night. Johan Sissoko. Did you watch the replay? I don't know if you watched the replay on ESPN Plus. Larry watched it. Now, my first question off of that is, how are you not listening to the Florida Atlantic Sports Network, Damon Arnette and myself? Okay. So Larry had it synced up like a proper FAU fan would. But yeah, I watched it back today. And Tom James, who does the ESPN Plus games for Florida Gulf Coast, is awesome and a great guy. He was the guy who said hi to his multiple times, well-coiffed hair, whole thing.
Okay.
He's got a really good hairline.
His name doesn't even look like I'm the one that butchers everyone's name.
Right, but it's fine. So. But it was Johan Sissoko the entire game.
Okay.
Now, I get that Johan is French, and I get that you want to put a little flair onto the Frenchman's name, but it is Sissoko. And if you go to the FAU website on the roster and press the ear icon next to his name, Johan Sissoko. So it was Sissoko. Johan Sissoko absolutely has a language barrier. Right. Carlo, no Carlo. And then a guy who's acted as your sixth man, Vincent Neugebauer, not playing as well either on the interior, which doesn't help. So FAU was shorthanded. What Larry's saying, Sissoko, he ever since the first game against Boston College, he's seen ragged minutes because the consistency hasn't been there. There's still the language barrier, and we've talked about that with Maxime Logie on the interior as well.
And
same
in addition,
country.
Throughout the game, don't forget that you had Nico that went down hurt.
Yeah.
In the game. Now, I don't know if he was hurt too much to not be able to return. He appeared to be available if we absolutely needed him.
Right.
But the reality of it was that Nico got hurt during the game as well.
Right.
And then Sissoko was able to come in and allow Coach Jacobs.
You mean Sissoko?
No, I'm sorry. Sissoko was able to come into the game and give more than servable minutes. He had like 3 assists during that time frame that we were making our comeback to take the lead. And all those passes went to the basket and led to direct baskets, and one of them was an and one for Josiah.
Craig, and I don't want Craig to think that we're like piling on him. I just think that was able to trigger us on a good conversation about what this team is. I want more than anything to be wrong about my conversation or my observation about this team not having it. This is Craig in the chat. I was there at the Mason game and the Liberty game. Their body language just looked defeated. Now, if I was only in attendance, saw this team against George Mason down 19 in the second half, and only in attendance to see the beating that was that game at Liberty, I probably would have a similar type of feel for Craig. But I want to remind you, Craig, FAU was down 19, and with over a minute left to go, plenty of time still, you had a wide-open Max Langenfeld 3 that nearly went down that would have tied the game.
And that's it.
The Liberty game I get. The George Mason game, that was a huge fight, and that was the Amar Amku
coming out
party.
Now, against the Liberty game, I must tell you.
That sucked. I'll agree.
I can understand, and I would give FAU a pass almost for having the defeated body language, because that's what knocking down those deep threes.
Oh, yeah.
That's what can do to a team. And I'm a victim of that because Larry, who's out here chiming in and being so great, giving us his questions and insight. I play ball with Larry, and he's knocked down a lot of those threes, and it's like that shouldn't have happened.
Right.
It's really what you start
I'm trying
feeling.
to decide if Damon's respecting Larry by saying, yeah, he can stroke it, or Damon is disrespecting Larry by saying, I can't believe that guy is torching me.
It's
one bad loss, which is Liberty. Oh, with the all right, yeah, the Liberty you eat because it's the first true road game. So St. Bonaventure is the one loss you're talking. Yeah, right. Yep. One bad loss. Yep. Sure. And then, yeah. Yep. So what Larry's saying is just for Craig, and again, we're not discounting Craig's observation at all, but
Craig might be right.
He might be January 4th. But what Larry's saying, and he's right, is you can't have the it conversation truly until after Tulane. After that Tulane American Conference game, then you can start having that conversation. It's still not going to be solidified in concrete, but I think Jacobs would start to be willing to have that it conversation
I must tell
as
you,
well.
I hope that our rotation is solidified in concrete by January. Okay,
yeah.
I hope, because we would have enough body of work, especially with us this road trip we're going out here to California.
Well, you got St. Mary's and then you got UCF right before the holidays. That's when you're really going to have to know.
These next few games, I think, is just to kind of hopefully, like knock on wood, hopefully, to kind of get us some good games so where we can kind of play with the rotation a little bit to kind of see if Jacobs is liking what he's seeing.
I just want to point out, like, the freshman of the year in the preseason freshman of the year in the American, for the first time this season, affected a game. And that means something.
But kid, I'm going to tell you why that was. Remember, and this is no knock on Josiah, his first shot hit the side of the backboard. Josiah Parker.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Not in this game, but
this other year.
Yeah, against Liberty. Against Boston College, and then against Liberty, he was just consistently shooting off the side.
But
of the
he's a true freshman, and that is, you kind of give some weight for that.
Well, he was also playing a million miles an hour.
And he was also playing, but that's also part of being a true freshman.
And then last night, he wasn't playing.
The game seemed like it was slowing down for him. But remember on the pregame, I said this was a good game for Josiah and those other rotational players.
Because you didn't have a Florida
to get
Gulf Coast player over 6'10", and your biggest starter was 6'8".
Exactly. And they knew they were going to get minutes.
Yeah.
And so Josiah was able to be in his element. And I hope Josiah, and if you think about it, Josiah didn't take one shot, maybe one. I think it was like a one-handed push shot outside of the paint.
Right.
Okay. Right. All his shots was layups and bullying and just using his instinct. Josiah used his instincts to get his baskets that he got.
Watching back, Larry's talking about like layups where he's standing at the midway point of the paint and leaning in to hit layups. The bucket that Josiah Parker made, and it's 72-70 at this point, and I only can recollect this like this because I'm getting up in age. I don't have the memory I used to, but I watched the game back today. Thank you. I appreciate that. But it's 72-70. It's getting late in the shot clock. Devin Vanderpool dribbles he has a little bit of indecision, jump stop to the free throw line, and then he tries to just save himself, short range pass to Parker, who has to go retrieve it back at the perimeter. But then Josiah, and this is a veteran decision on his part, he could have tried to frantically find someone with 6 on the shot clock to throw it to. He puts the ball on the floor. He starts sort of crab dribbling his way in, and then puts his shoulder into that big man, Malone, sends him sprawling, and from the midpoint of the paint, he's not even on the block. Midway of the paint, just leans in, softly kisses it against the glass because Malone has thrown his body all the way back beyond the baseline. You're up 4, game's basically over at that point. That's big-time basketball right there from a big-time talent.
You know what that's called? Hooping. That's what we need to have. And there's certain elements at certain times of the game that the coach can't draw up a play. Mm-hmm. And I'm sorry, all those cone drills that you did growing up.
That doesn't matter.
That doesn't matter. You got to just go out there and hoop.
Instinct.
And that play was a hooping type of reaction to the time and moment of the game and the situation that happened. And that's what I like to see a lot more of. But that's what Josiah brings you. Yeah. That's what Amar brings you. Amar brings you hoop. They don't draw up one play for Amar.
No.
Everything he's got has just been from playing ball.
If you are to rank the revelations of the early season, 9 games in for Florida Atlantic basketball, number 1 is Devin Vanderpool, obviously. That's a given. Number 2 is Amar Amku.
You think that's a revelation?
He is a revelation. He has barely played. Yeah, right. He's from Senegal. He has barely played any minutes in his college career due to injuries, and he's a freak of nature.
I don't think it's a revelation in terms of expectations. You've seen him in practice.
But expectations internally. There's no way that the FAU fan that is keeping casual attention knew at all who Amar Amku was.
To the casual fan, no. But you and I are in practice, and we see what he does, just like with Max Langdor.
Yeah.
We see what he does. We see Max Langenfeld, and I promise you to every listener that is hearing us on YouTube and Twitter or in person, he does not miss a shot in practice at full speed. From the corner, from the top, off down screens, off curl screens. And we are talking about practice, man.
Hey, Coach Mora, chill out real quick.
Yes, we're talking about practice. And so, yes, we're talking about practice. We're talking about practice. And so the reason why I equate that, because as a shooter, that's what you have to do in order to be good. You don't think Steph Curry practiced that shot to the point where it's just routine and he can do it with his eyes closed. Right. Unlike what Josiah Parker did in those critical, he can't practice that. Nor can he duplicate that. I guarantee you right now, if you ask Josiah to go back and do it, he cannot remember the move that he made.
Right. Josiah Parker, McDonald's All-American. Yeah, he went through people. Went through bodies. Yep. Yeah, Right. So Josiah Parker, he could bully his way against Florida Gulf Coast. One that's going to be on film now. The shoulder clearance. But St. Mary's, different ball game. Even Tulane, different ball game, even though they're struggling this year. Tulsa, different ball game. Memphis, different ball game. So he's going to have to also be able to go back to what he knows from an instinct standpoint.
He is like every other player that is coming out, even like with Devin Vanderpool. Devin Vanderpool, can you do what you do when you're on the scouting report when people are trying to stop you?
And things have been more difficult for him.
Exactly. So, yes, it might be more difficult against these other opponents, but doesn't mean that he still won't be able to succeed. You're going to have to be able to adjust your game and be able to be who you are, even though that more a formidable competition is in your way. Yeah. And that's yet to be seen. with him.
Sure.
With Parker.
What I'll say about Devin Vanderpool, because you called it right away after the first 3 games, hey, there's going to be scouting reports. He's at the top of it now. And the defense against him has been different, and he's had to really fight and claw. Part of his game now is bullying his way to the free throw line. He's 12 of 12 last night against Florida Gulf Coast at the free throw line. You are a complete player if the opponent takes something away from you, so you say, you know what, I'm going to find a different way to make an impact. And it's not pretty, and he'd like to get his buckets, but he, with FAU down 6, 7, 8 against Florida Gulf Coast, said, you know what, I'm going to go full speed inside, I'm going to take the contact, and I'll get it done at the free throw line.
What has happened with Devin Vanderpool in his game, although his numbers really hasn't dropped off, his shooting percentage has gone down. And that's okay. Okay,
and he's okay with that.
That is okay. But the way as a scorer, and if that is your role, to be a scorer of some magnitude, whether it's between a 15 and 21 point scorer for your team, you're going to have to find other ways to put the ball in the bucket. And he went 12 for 12 from the free throw line yesterday. I don't care how you get the bucket. Get the bucket. That is the mentality of a scorer. I don't care if you get 2 points from shooting a layup. I don't care if you get 2 points from shooting a mid-range jumper with a hand in your face, or I don't care if you get the 2 points from the free throw line. Get me the points.
Well, that's how James Harden's going to go into the Hall of Fame. Just going to the free throw line. I will make this declaration too. Devin Vanderpool, a better defender than James Harden ever was in his career. How about that? So
you take the low-hanging fruit.
I do take the low-hanging fruit. James Harden. James Harden is a completely unethical basketball player. Ross, I feel for Jake is basically having a whole new roster. Yeah, it sucks. But that's
to
the
college
reality.
Basketball, right?
Yeah, and that's the problem. And I told my wife this. If you're John Jacobs, you look at Trey Carroll putting a 30 ball on Baba Miller in the Xavier-Cincinnati game earlier this week. I don't know if I saw that coming. I know Trey is really, really good and a great scorer, but, man, he lit up Baba Miller. I mean, just absolutely 30-balled all over his head. But then you have Matas Boikiatitis at Texas, who's putting up big numbers. It's just one of those things. You develop the talent, and then the talent leaves, and it sucks, but it's the reality, and John Jacobs isn't going to hold a pity party for himself. But as far as Ross and his comment, going to take time to figure out his rotation. Once he figures it out like he has, I like this team to compete in conference. Hashtag KOV and Damon back to press row. Let's discuss that for a second. If you don't know, Damon Arnette and myself, the broadcast team for FAU Basketball, we are above the student section now. We are near where the TV cameras are. We're behind the Italian flag, and I believe the German flag is in our vicinity as well. Yeah.
Yes.
So
you know what I'm gonna do? I know you won't do this, but I will. Everyone that likes to see us back on press row, send all those requests out to Mike.
Mike
Graffine at fau.edu, please. Send all those requests out because we.
Larry said he's going to donate his seats to us. Yeah.
But we're trying to make the best of it sitting up there. It does give.
We do have higher, like, barstool-like seats now.
And I'm just going to be here. I don't like it. I'm just going to say it. I don't like it. I mean, we can see the game and this, that, and the other, but just for me, I like being in the action.
So, actually,
feeling like I'm in the action.
This is a good story to tell just from that standpoint. So, you and I are a good 20 rows up away from the floor now.
We call it now the penthouse.
We call it the penthouse. We're going to get a fully furnished
out of
the
lemons.
whole thing, right? But yesterday, and like Larry, big time, like nuanced basketball mind, he'll appreciate this. So the game is tied at 70 with 3.5 minutes left to go, something like that. And FAU turns it over in the backcourt, facing some three-quarters court pressure. And it was 20, their leading scorer, Kaznesny, for Florida Gulf Coast, steals the basketball, and he decides he's just going to straight line from midcourt, get all the way to the rim. And Josiah Parker tracks him down, tips the basketball. The official gives the ball to Florida Gulf Coast. A couple of seconds pass. Florida Gulf Coast is getting set behind the baseline inbound, and all of a sudden we hear Vitor Tavares, who is the head manager. He's got the tablet on his lap behind the bench, and he goes, whoa, coach, use the challenge, and Florida Gulf Coast is about to inbound it because Nesty has the ball in his hand, about to throw it in, and the official Jacobs gets the official's attention because Vitor is screaming in his ear, it'll be our ball, use the challenge. Jacobs uses the challenge. FAU wins the challenge. FAU comes back down the floor. FAU takes the lead on the very next possession.
And
those are the things that Damon and I can't see or get a feel for where we're at our vantage point, but we can convey that clearly to the audience. Something as small as that yesterday, because we were on the floor. It ended up being massive in the grand scheme of things, but there's the nuance of it that you would never know as a fan unless we have that perspective.
And just to add to your description of that moment in time,
good job, Vitor.
For the listeners, at the time that he was reviewing it, he had to go back and review it and hit rewind and all that.
Yeah,
all the coaches were standing full turned around, staring at him.
For him.
Staring at him, waiting on an answer. Do we use the challenge or don't we?
Right.
And they, with the pressure that was on that young man at that moment, he handled it very, very well. But you're right. We would not have been able to be a part of that moment.
Yeah. But that was awesome for Vitor. And he gave a primal scream in celebration. I've never seen a manager do that, because a manager rarely impacts the game like that, which was awesome.
He impacted that game.
That was awesome. So thank you, Ross, for bringing to light our season nightmare of our access. Yeah,
we do what we told, though.
We do what we're told, and we do it.
I do it reluctantly, if you know me.
Yeah, right. Dark says, this team reminds me of the Heat in the sense there's so many players who contribute. Tough to carve out a true rotation. Tell Damon Arnette, tell Senior, I was in 3rd grade with Damon Jr. at Tradewinds. Go Texans, by the way. You're old, man.
Oh, wow.
You are old.
Well, thank you,
Ken. Appreciate you.
Thank you for just dating me like that. I mean, the fact that I'm a senior and now he just put my business out there on the street that there's a junior
there is
out there.
Yep.
Okay, so, but no, I appreciate it. And who is that? Dark Ass?
That's Dark Ass. Yep.
Dark Ass 33. Well,
Dark Ass with a T.
Dark Ass. I appreciate you following myself and Junior. And definitely, if you come to a Miami Heat game, you might see me and Ken, but definitely if you come to a FAU game, find us in the penthouse.
Just look up. Yep.
Yeah, I'd love to shake your hand and tell you what's up, and see if we can get you back in touch with your old classmate.
I do want to – I want to pick your brain about the big men offensively. We know Devin Williams is an elite rim protector already. I believe
third in the nation in blocks.
He was third. He came into yesterday, 2nd in the nation in blocks. I think that's probably going to stay about the same after yesterday. But offensively with the bigs, Devin Williams or Neugebauer coming off the bench, or Pintalan, who's been starting but has taken more threes than he has twos. That interior, Amar Amku, I think we can include in this conversation. That has to come along. Right, this team's not going to realize its full potential unless there is some sort of legitimate. And I suppose now you can add Josiah Parker into that grouping, which FAU's been waiting for. And it's no guarantee Josiah Parker immediately now something's clicked and he's going to go on a tear. He still just turned 19 yesterday. Okay, you can't just expect that's going to happen. But on the interior, there needs to be more scoring. There needs to at least be more offensive presence. There needs to be offense that's at least run through down there. How do you handicap that right now? How do you sort of see that evolving?
Well, let me ask you this. Let me just ask you this, and then I'll answer your question. Sorry to throw it back to you. What is your overall outcome that you would like to see?
It would I think Devin Williams has the ability to be more of a scoring threat. I just think he after the first 4 or 5 games of the year, he was getting some shots swatted, and he hasn't looked the same with his aggression towards the rim. And I might be wrong about that, but that's my observation of that, and that's the first thing that comes to mind when you pose that question.
Okay, so now to answer your question is, how do we get him to be more productive, ultimately?
Yeah. And keeping in mind, he's pretty aces right now defensively. I have no qualms.
You mean on the offensive end?
I think that Devin Williams defensively,
excellent. No, he's
our
rim protector.
Offensively.
Yeah. Well, I think it's going to start with our guards have got to start trusting him more. Our guards have got to start getting themselves in a position to deliver him.
So it's not just a Devin Williams thing. There is a responsibility of the guards to really start looking.
Yes, and they got Devin Williams has got to feel like his teammates have confidence in him, which I'm sure they do, and I'm sure he feels that way. But now in live action moments, we've got to start getting him the ball in areas where he's comfortable.
Sure.
And that comes from the guards based on the strategy and the schematics that Coach Jenkins has set up. Coach Devin Williams is going to go set that high screen. He's going to hit and then roll to the basket.
Yeah.
We've got to deliver and he's open.
Right.
7 out of 10 times on the roll.
Right.
But our guards have got to get in an angle that's going to allow a successful pass to him. And that pass has got to get to him at the space on the floor where Devin feels comfortable with collecting the ball and himself and going up strong. We can't give it to him. Devin is a at the basket player, meaning downhill. He needs to keep the basket and the rim in front of him as he attacks. If he's looking up at the rim, that's not his strong suit. A lot of the blocks that he had on his shots, because he was looking up, he's flat-footed, trying to vert, jump.
You know what's funny about that too is, and this is a typical big man issue, at least as they're starting to come along. We saw it with Montas at points last year. We certainly saw it with Vlad his first couple of seasons. These big men bringing the ball from their hip instead of keeping the ball shoulder level and above and going up with it. Devin Williams, first part of the year, was bringing it up from the hip, just like Montas Boykietitis was bringing it up from the hip the first 2 months of last year, just like Vlad Golden the first year and a half in Boca was bringing it from the hip. And as soon as they start to get the feel of, I don't need to bring it below my shoulders, I'm just going to go right back up with it. It's a process. And any big who's super talented, and Devin Williams is very talented. Once they finally, it's a feel thing though, right?
Right.
You've been doing one thing your entire basketball developmental life. You can't just break it in the snap of a finger. And I think that's going to help. But you bring up the guards, the way you talk about delivering the ball to Devin Williams, I think from a guard standpoint, that applies to all of the bigs underneath this. You've been really focusing on that on the game broadcast. The guards are just not finding the right ways to unlock the bigs underneath.
And it's not because our guards are playing from a selfish mentality.
No.
That's not the reason. It's just because of the way the structure and the emphasis on what we would like to have happen. We want our guards to turn that corner and get downhill. So they've got to try to balance their efforts of getting downhill and recognizing when the scouting report against us is flattening us out. So when they flatten us out, when the defense flattens us out, meaning we can't turn downhill and go toward the basket, we got to go more east-west. That's when our roll guy and Williams and Logie, that's when those guys are wide open. We've got to then immediately switch our mental to going from a scoring mode to an assist mode, almost in a split second. And that's something that's going to come. That's that chemistry we're talking about and recognition.
I felt good about the fact that FAU's three-point defense yesterday. It was better. 28.6% is what FGCU shot. FAU was coming in 355th in the nation in three-point percentage defense. That was a much better effort against Florida.
Now, I'm going to tell you something, Ken. If you look at the tail of the tape as far as the three-point percentage shooting, we gave up almost close to 100% in the first half. If not, I think it was it was around 65%.
Florida Gulf Coast, they were 61% from the field period.
So
halftime.
That tells you in basketball, it's not how many, it's when.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and so Florida Gulf Coast made the threes that they took in the first half, but they just didn't make the same. They got open looks, but they just didn't go down. So in basketball, it's not always about how many, it's when you know make them.
You know what's crazy about the FAU defense yesterday? There was at one point in the game that Florida Gulf Coast, first half spanning in the second half, made 14 of 16 field goal attempts. I mean, that's pretty prodigious. That's prolific stuff right there. How did FAU win the game? They went on a 12-0 run in winning time. FAU started to switch on everything defensively, which is why John Jacobs went small for the exception of Devin Williams, but certainly went small when Max Langenfeld was inserted with the likes of Parker and with the likes of Sissoko and with the likes of Vanderpool and with the likes of Elohim. FAU started switching everything, and that changed everything because the aggression, the on-ball defending really came into play, and that's what allowed the 12-0 run to happen. And you know what? I'll make this declaration. There will be something resembling a rotation with this team, but I do think this team is deep enough with enough guys who do certain little things well, but
Right.
there's never going to be a concrete, carve it in stone, Mount Rushmore type of rotation. I think the biggest evidence of that was the comeback against Florida Gulf
And
Coast.
I agree with you, and that's no knock on Coach Jake is just kind of not having something cemented. That's actually a pat on the back to Coach Jake and his staff on how well they recruited.
Yeah.
To be able to go down that far down the bench at any moment of the game,
winning time,
and make the adjustments necessary to have the tools in your toolbox to fix any issue that you're having in game is just a testament to how Coach Jake has recruited, how well he's recruited. Because think about how many teams they can't put in the 8th player on the bench.
Yeah.
They just absolutely cannot.
Yeah.
They'd rather a player foul out.
They're basically putting the 8th player on the bench to give a breather to a player they want to get right back
Coach
in.
Jacobs can go 8, 9,
Yeah.
and 10 to give meaningful minutes, and that just manifested itself yesterday.
I know that there's a tendency, and I get it, and I get a paycheck from FAU, and part of my job is to try and put a bow on everything, okay? And I understand how that can be annoying to people, and I'm not ignorant to that. But with this team, I don't know enough yet to make a declaration of what they can be. Can they be a conference champion? I don't know.
Yes, the answer to that is yes.
Right. But
they can be.
Do I think that we talk about them as favorites even like late January? Probably not.
Right.
I think John Jacobs still has a lot of questions about what this team can be. I think that's pretty obvious based on what he says to us, even on the air. But I cannot sit there and say at this point I can make any grand declarations about this team because it's just not possible. And I think that part of this panic about we need to know what this team is, I think you can always set up the schedule to try and put yourself in an at-large position. I think 9 out of 10 times at this level of college basketball with this program, because no one wants to play this program anymore, of any appreciable ilk within the sport wants to play this team, and at large is going to be very difficult 9 out of 10 times. I think that we have all been jaded by the fact that we were going to be an at-large team in the Final Four year if we didn't win the Conference USA tournament, and we're an at-large team the very next season. Being an at-large at this school, at this level, is wildly, excessively difficult. So get that out of your mind that that's something that is going to be realistic the vast majority of the time. What you're aiming for is by first week of January, you have a team that believes enough in itself and believes enough in what its individual roles are to come together and to be a 13-14 win conference team. And I think that this team is on its way. There are going to be tests over the next couple of weeks, especially St. Mary's and UCF, where we're going to learn an awful lot more about this basketball team before we hit the conference opener on the 31st.
It's time. We all have to watch the grass grow, so to speak, a little bit. And I know that we want to know where we're going to be, what's going to happen to us. And we're work in progress, but we're not unlike any other team. What team this year in the American can you honestly say, oh, they're the team to beat?
There's not one.
Exactly. So everyone's coming together right now.
I need to see more of Tulsa before I can say, oh, they're a favorite.
You need to see more of Memphis.
I need to see more of Memphis. And they've had a really difficult schedule, and they've started to come together a little bit, but Memphis is always going to be Memphis. The bottom can always fall out.
And I think that the respect that we've gotten over the years is why we can't get those kind of games. And I love our preseason schedule.
This non-conference has been awesome.
Oh, it really is.
And we're about to hit the toughest part of it.
And this is what is part two is a big part of trying to find out what your rotation is.
No doubt.
You got to play the games. You got injuries. You got to overcome.
And if things go poorly at some points the rest of the non-conference, who's going to be able to stay as even as possible? And that answers a lot of questions too, even when maybe you're not necessarily in a position to win.
But one thing I believe our people listening should understand is that one thing that we do have, if we do, this basketball team has resiliency. Yep. They are not going to quit. And the evidence is in the pudding in these last games. Okay. We've been in every game except for the Liberty game, where within the last 3 minutes, we were in a position to win.
Yeah.
And I don't care what sport you play.
Yeah, every single game. You're exactly right.
I don't care what sport you play as a coach. as a fan, that is what you want. You want to have to watch the last 2 minutes of the game because we are in position to win the game. Now, if the ones that we win, the ones that we don't win, that comes with maturity. Been there, done that, so to speak. And right now, we're 2 of 4 in winning games that are coming down the stretch. 2 of 4.
Yeah.
Okay. And that Boston College win, that is a big win in terms of maybe not in your Ken-Prom points, but just in the development of this team.
The feel of what it took to do that. And I also
that's the same thing they drug on yesterday at Florida Gulf Coast.
Right.
They tapped into that same. Wasn't it like we were playing Boston College all over again?
Now, the thing is, I think FAU is an appreciably better team than Boston College, but week 1, that first game of the season, Boston College had its best player back from last season. FAU did not know yet who its best player was going to be, and FAU still found a way to come back and win that game. Ross, we were plus 3,000 to win the AAC preseason. Now we're plus 1,200 if you pay attention to those sorts of things.
So that means put money on us right now?
No. We're not going to say that as the official broadcast team of Florida Atlantic Athletics. I don't want to pull a Terry Rozier here. But I do think now there's a little more recognition. The wins over Pacific and Loyola Marymount, and the near miss against George Mason after it looked like that thing was dead and gone, putting yourself in a position to beat St. Bonaventure. People are noticing that a little bit. And are they missed opportunities? Yes. The George Mason game and the St. Bonaventure's game, yes, they are missed opportunities. But there is at least enough there for the pundits to pay attention and say, you know what, this FAU team has a lot to be excited about. I wanted to take note, too, that St. Bonaventure game.
Okay.
I was really impressed with the crowd for that. Coming off of no students in town, just past Thanksgiving, and it's an NFL Sunday. That was... that was excessively impressive.
Right.
How crowded that place was, because I thought it was going to be like a 1,900, 2,000, no students on campus, post Thanksgiving, NFL Sunday. And I mean, people came out. That was a jam-packed arena. That was really good job. And I know a lot of times when I talk about the crowd, I sort of get on people. I do it with football. That was unbelievable. Let's keep that up.
No, I believe our home court advantage element that we have there at the LE is something that is carrying over from one season to the next. And I just hope that we can continue. And I talk to administration all the time about doing things to create a tradition, because our players are going to come and go.
Yeah.
Okay. And so we got to have an infrastructure and an environment and a culture that is something we shouldn't be surprised at anymore. Do you actually think Duke, if you go to a Cameron Indoor where Duke University plays, you think they're surprised how rowdy in their turnout?
Right.
At this stage of the game? And I know we're light years away from that type of mystique. However, it got to start somewhere.
Yep.
And we have taken great strides to expect that we're going to have an atmosphere every home game.
I want to make sure that this gets put out there, because Craig's right. Craig in the chat. Can we talk about how our ladies team looks much better this year? Yes. They're 5-3. I did the math on this. They have 2 true road wins at this juncture of the season, this early part of the year. That's the quickest they have been to 2 true road wins since 2019. They had a really impressive win at Western Kentucky just a couple of days ago. They are so banged up. They're only playing about 8 ladies deep on that basketball team. But
when's the next game?
Let me double check that.
Let's go to the next game. Kid.
Yeah, I mean, let's keep in mind too that they almost beat Florida.
Yes, at home.
They almost beat Florida at home, and I keep hearing Florida was without their best player. You played a team that has an 8-player rotation, and FAU almost beat them.
And I don't care if you're out without your
best player. 100%.
I could care less.
But FAU beat Wright State in overtime, beat Western Kentucky on the road 47-44, beat Air Force at home 76-71, nearly beat Florida, lost by 8. They were down 1 at halftime in that game. They had the buzzer beater against Kennesaw State. I look at that, the women's
team. When's the next
game? That's right. You asked me to check that out. Their next game is, what's the date today? The 8th. Friday at home against Florida Gulf Coast.
Oh,
and that's an 11 a.m. game.
Let's go. I'm gonna go check that game out.
Okay.
And you know what? I would invite all our listeners. Let's go support the girls. And I think that Craig is right on point. Let's show up for them. That they deserve the same atmosphere that the boys get. So
Yep.
I'll be there in attendance.
But Leanne Freeland and that staff, they rule. Like Leanne is game changer type of, doesn't make any excuses and knows how to get after it. Leanne Freeland is, man, is she impressive.
Well,
she
Coach,
really,
Damon and Ken are coming to the game.
I love it.
You got our attention.
Really, really damn impressive what that women's team is doing. Again, with injuries abound with that roster. So Florida Atlantic Wednesday, you have St. Leo's, and they've got Albany next weekend, and then you have the St. Mary's UCF on the way. So overall, before we put a bow on this,
Okay.
9 games in to this 2025-2026 season, your honest Damon Arnette assessment of this FAU basketball team through the quarter point of the year.
Well, through the quarter point in the win-loss, there's two perspectives for me. One is the win-loss record. Okay, did we lose any games we shouldn't have lost? Did we beat the teams we should have beaten? And did we upset, quote-unquote, anybody? And I think the answer is yes. We did beat a team that we think that people wouldn't have thought we should have beaten, which would be Boston College.
Yep.
First game of the season. I don't believe we were.
You might have been able to throw Loyola Marymount into that conversation.
And
too.
Loyola, so we have a couple teams there we didn't
just
beat.
based on preseason expectations.
Yes, this preseason expectations.
A team I think you should have beat was St. Bonaventure that you didn't beat.
We should have beat. Well, I'm saying just going into the game, not how the game played out.
I guess I thought that FAU, that's one of those games where you should have beaten St.
Oh, we should have beaten them based on how the game was.
But you don't think
out.
going in,
I don't think the expectation was to beat them.
Okay.
Based on because they had some returning players, they had some good players that were returning there. They had some good wins already on their one-loss record coming into playing us. They were undefeated coming into us, if I'm not mistaken, and so they had some good wins. They just beaten the brakes off of East Carolina before. I believe that we might be right where we should be.
Okay.
Are we where we hope to be? No. Are we where our expectations should be? No.
Yeah.
And let's just for our listeners, let's compare it to last year's team. Okay, let's just compare it to last year's team. I don't care what our one-loss record was last year, but there was some ceilings that were immediately placed on certain areas of that team that you could tell from day one, like, this is just what it is.
And this goes to Aaron in the chat. How do you think this year's team compares to last year's squad at this point of the season?
Here we go, Aaron. I think this year's team, and also I'm going to answer Aaron's question as yours, I think this is a better team. I think this is a better projection team. And one of the biggest reasons why I believe personally is that there's not a lot of outside noise. I think that there's a lot of coming together, because you have to remember that team last year was coming in off of a FAU team that got an at-large.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And a new coach. So there was some type of chest poking out that they didn't earn, but they were still trying to play off of that.
Yeah, and then there's also playing in the shadow of that, which is
playing in the shadow of that
as well.
Exactly. And a lot of the players on that team were old.
Yeah.
That, if for all intents and purposes, emotionally and mentally, come to find out as the season drug on, they had checked out because their future was already set for what it's going to be. Stay, go play professionally, whatever it is. So there were a lot of dynamics that I don't blame any individual player for, but there were a lot of outside noise that had to deal with that. I believe this team, to the man, is very hungry.
Yeah.
For the same reason. And that's why I like this team better than last year's team, because I see everyone rowing in the same direction. You can row in the same direction, Ken, as they say, just to once you reach the destination to get out the boat. Or you can row in the same direction to get to your destination and know you're staying in the boat.
That's a good way to put it.
Okay, and so I feel like everybody right now on this team is rowing in the same direction to stay in the boat.
Yep.
And for that reason, I think this is a better team. I can't speak enough about how our resiliency that was displayed in the Boston College win in the Florida Gulf Coast win, in the George Mason's loss. That speaks volumes as far as what Coach Jacobs has to work with.
Yeah.
And I'm very encouraged by that.
I feel like when FAU is playing at its best, there is a level of aggression, especially headed to the rim and attacking the rim, that exists that when FAU goes through lulls doesn't exist. And we saw it when Amar Amku came in the game against George Mason, and that whole game flipped on its head. You said something after that game where FAU didn't necessarily lose. They ran out of time. And that's true.
Yes.
FAU had completely overwhelmed George Mason in the final 7 minutes of that game. But it's because FAU around the rim was just fearless. Same thing with Florida Gulf Coast. As soon as things were no longer hesitant at the rim, which required some uncomfortable behavior to get yourself into those spots, things change. And I think that's a key for this team. Can the bigs and can those the muscle components of this roster put themselves in uncomfortable spots early to impose their will? Because I would argue St. Bonaventure had those guys, including the 270-pound big man, who embrace making themselves uncomfortable, throwing their bodies around. And I think FAU, if Josiah Parker continue this upward trajectory, can have that. And then that sets this whole season in a different pantheon.
No, you're exactly right. And everybody, even coaches, comes into every season with this preconceived notion and dream and hope of what you're going to be. I put in all this time on my three-point shot, so I'm going to come out here and knock down shots. From a coaching staff, well, we want to be multiple. We want to run this and that and defend this way and defend that way. But as the games start to come and go, you're going to have to be faced with a decision on, are you willing to do what it takes to be successful or not? And there's no secret to success, if I've learned over life. Only those willing to do what it takes to be successful.
Right.
And I think that's what the turning point is for this team and every team in America, not just this team. But how quickly can we say, as your point is so obviously glaring, what makes us successful? Are we willing to stick to that? Or are we going to try to force how we want to be successful? Sometimes in a game of sports and competition, you got to do what it takes to win.
Correct.
And if that means run the ball, pass the ball, take it inside, bulldoze, and get layups, knocking down open threes, then knock down open threes. And I think that's what Coach Jacobs wants from his team, is to have the pieces to do what it takes to win that particular game. And that's what happened yesterday.
Want to thank everybody for jumping in the chat. Want to thank everybody for watching this on a Monday night. Never in my wildest dreams, by the way. 2 years ago when we started the Florida Atlantic Voice podcast, did I think that on a Monday night talking FAU basketball, we would have up over 250 to 300 people watching at one time through multiple entities? And that is what you, the FAU fan, do consistently now. Again, Monday night, 6 o'clock, watching and contributing to an FAU basketball conversation. That's all you people. I decided to come up with the platform. You guys have taken it a whole different stratosphere. And for those of you who have shown me your Spotify Wrap for 2025 and Florida Atlantic Voice is either 1 or 2 on your list, I appreciate it, unlike anything you could even imagine. So thank you. And Damon and I are going to be with you throughout the entire basketball season. We'll be back again for a post-up edition after the Albany game. That's a noon tip-off next Saturday. So we'll be hanging out with you, taking your chat as always. So it's good stuff right there, man.
And for the ones that can come out that are local, come on out.
Yeah.
Come on out. We love all the write-in questions, but we would love to hear it in person.
Yeah. Feel free. And next time we'll tell the story of how I almost sent Damon and I back to Naples after making almost the entire trip across Alligator Alley.
I'm
coming
glad
back
you
from
brought
Florida
that up
Gulf
because
Coast.
it was on my tongue to say.
I screwed up very badly, but I think it's a story for a longer amount of time.
Yes.
But I want to thank Robes Law Group, ROBES, robeslawgroup.com, personal injury lawyers. They are the title sponsor of the Florida Atlantic Voice. We can't do a damn thing without their support and what they mean to us. Want to thank you for watching. Want to thank you for listening. Want to thank you for contributing. He is Damon Arnette. I am Ken LaVicka. We'll have a Florida Atlantic Voice post-up after Saturday's FAU basketball contest against Albany. Until next time, this has been the Florida Atlantic Voice presented by Robes Law Group. Bye-bye.